Welcome back to Undefendable. Today we are going to be hopping into the Monk. Couple of different playstyles, very versatile hero. Hope you guys enjoy. If you like adapting to your opponent and finding the right line every single game, Monk is your hero. Highly adaptive mid-range hero that can tilt towards being offensive using chi to crank up damage, being defensive using chi to prevent damage and survive literally almost forever, or a balanced line that shifts as the game develops. Key points to make here: strong, flexible kit with lots of variable abilities and viable abilities. Chi is his core engine and the main decision point of how you want to balance his gameplay. He has no economy, and he in somewhat harder dice anatomy, so mistakes will hurt you. And he's very matchup dependent on how you choose to spend your chi. You are playing a resource balancing act. Use chi well, and the monk feels unstoppable. Use it poorly, and you feel like a worse version of every other hero. Going over the monk's leaflet, his main differentiating and main resource is going to be that chi that we just talked about. You're going to spend it to increase damage or prevent incoming damage. You're generating this by several abilities and his defense. Every chi spent on damage is one less chi for survivability, so being able to balance that is extremely important. Evasive, this is just you're rolling to avoid all damage and full damage. Roll a die to possibly avoid all incoming damage. Works best against big single hit or undefendable heroes, often gained from Meditate, Serenity, or some of the upgrades you can unlock. Knockdown is that negative status effect where your opponent has to spend 2 CP or skip offensive roll phase. This is great in the mid game and helps slow down some of those heroes that rely on a lot of CP and a lot of draw. And then lastly, Cleanse. This is status control. It removes a negative status effect from you like Powder Keg, Burn, Targeting, etc. and is very strong against damage over time heavy heroes. All this said, Monk is all about converting chi into the right effect at the right time while trying to slow your opponent down, evade damage, and make sure that those damage over times do not build up. His dice are going to be AAB, CCD, so 2 fists, 1 palm, 2 zen, 1 lotus, which can make some of his roll objectives a little bit awkward to get to. Going over his abilities, his basic is Fist Strike, 6, 7, 8 defendable damage. Now, while we're going over this, I want to point out again, his roll objectives or his dice are a little bit unique, right? You only have 2 fists, whereas a lot of the other heroes we've went over have 3 opportunities for 1, 2, and 3. So some of these are going to be a lot harder roll objectives. For instance, his basic is not so basic because you only have 2 of the dice that actually show fist. Meditated is his basically bread and butter. Gain 5 chi, and then gain evasive or gain cleanse. Combo Strike is going to be dealing 6 damage defendable and rolling 1 to do these following effects. Tempest Rush is going to be roll 3, deal damage to the total roll value. If the roll value is at least 13, inflict knockdown. Small Straight, Fists of Harmony is going to be 6 damage, then gain 2 chi. Fists of Tranquility is his large straight, 7 damage, gain an evasive, and 3 chi. Lotus Strike is 5 undefendable, then increase chi stack limit by 1 and gain 5 chi. And then his defense. You gain chi per your Zen facing die, and then you can deal 1 damage back for all the fists you roll. One thing to point out, when you gain chi, right, this is a deal 6 damage, then gain chi. So you cannot use this chi on this damage because it is after the damage is dealt. The monk really has 2 main play styles and then a slightly hybrid style as well. Style number 1, which is the most common, is the defensive monk or the turtle style. Your core loop is to spam Meditate as often as possible and poke with Combo Strike when you can or your straights. Use chi mostly for prevention, and then lean into evasive and cleanse if you're getting a lot of status effects on you. This style or this gameplay is going to be best into high damage over time heroes like Cursed Pirate and Pyromancer. big undefendable hitters like Ninja, or heroes with scary status engines like Moon Elf, using targeted or artificer's damage over time. In this style, Turtle, you're trying to stall, drain their resources, and let them run out of gas while you slowly chip away at them. The second option or play style, I would say, is the offensive monk, the dragon style. That core loop prioritizes straights, combo strike, and tempest rush. It uses serenity to build up chi, then cash it out for as much damage as possible on your offensive turn. Avoid burns on low damage turns like meditate unless you really need cleanse or evasive. This is the dragon style. You are going just for straight damage, and you're using the chi from your defense to try and explode on these next offensive rolls. And this style is going to be best into slower engine building heroes like Shadow Thief, Paladin, Treant, Tacticianer, Huntress, and then control heroes that want time to set up. So in this version, you're just racing them. A big Tempest Rush turns all of that chi burst, everything, into just a way where you can steal the game before the late game even comes online for some of those heroes. And then lastly, I would say the balanced monk is just matchup dependent. It requires a mix of defense and offense. For instance, if you're playing against Vampire Lord, you want offense to punish her weak defense, but you also want extra chi to blunt her big heals from her lifesteal. The general rule when it comes to chi, treat each chi as roughly 1 damage or 1 prevention. Spend chi quickly rather than hoarding it, because you're going to be gaining a lot of it. And then chi sitting on your board is vulnerable to what's that status effects, right? So you're going to want to not hoard it if you don't have to. Usually spend after defensive rolls resolve, and bait evasive type effects with small chi spend first. That's going to be the game plans for the monk. As for card upgrade suggestions, here was how I would go about it. Fist Strike, the upgrade here, the Fist Strike 2, not the Fist Strike 3. This is fine early, but it is not wildly necessary, and you can usually sell it unless you really want to go offensive. Meditate, this is going to be a very strong upgrade, both in the defensive turtle style and the balanced hybrid style that we talked about. This is probably one that you're going to want to upgrade if you're, again, playing that defensive route and that opportunity. Combo Strike, this is going to be one, if you draw it early and you expect to roll it multiple times, it's worth it. But it's not necessarily a game changer or a game breaker. Tempest Rush, if you are going for the offensive style, that dragon style mode, this is a cheap and excellent upgrade for you that you can chase. Fists of Tranquility, good early, less important late, but getting Way of the Monk is a strong fallback that lets you avoid some defensive rolls with the undefendable damage, and lets you, maybe chase Tempest Rush, Combo Strike, and Lotus Strike a little more freely, knowing you have the flexibility there. And then lastly, an early game Serenity upgrade, whether it's Serenity 1 or Serenity 2, Serenity 2 or Serenity 3, specifically Serenity 3, because if you're playing against damage over time or heavy status effect heroes, this is really strong because it gives you the opportunity to gain cleanse. Or if you're playing against heroes that are just going to be swinging into you, getting that extra roll on the upgrade of 2, and then getting the abilities here are very, very strong, and you can even find the evasives. So that would be the card upgrades I would recommend. Matchup wise, Monk is going to be strong against heroes where he can repeatedly use Meditate for value, damage over time, and status heavy heroes that let him flex his cleanse and evasives, and opponents that are forced to attack into his defense that can roll consistently. He's going to be great into heroes like Cursed Pirate, Pyromancer, Moon Elf, Artificer, Barbarian, and then Ninja. And I say Ninja, but you got to go full turtle mode on the Ninja. he is going to struggle or be weak against opponents that can avoid his defense with undefendable or isolated damage, opponents that have very strong and consistent defenses, and the monk's really lack of reliable undefendable damage becomes a real problem. So if he has to keep swinging into opponents with very strong defense, he doesn't really have a lot of undefendable options, and that can really hurt him. Shadow Thief is a classic tough matchup, and other strong defensive heroes can punish him if he leans too hard into his standard attacks. And lastly, let's do a few roll attempts with no upgrades on the board. Here we go. Let's say we're going for the offensive monk here, the dragon style monk. Well, that's pretty good because we already rolled into the Tempest Rush on the first roll, and now we would roll 3 dice to see how much damage we're going to do. Wowie, 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 that is 14 defendable damage, and we're going to inflict a knockdown on our opponent. Very strong start for the dragon style monk. Let's say we're playing turtle style. That's where we're really going to want to push meditate, or, I mean, if we're going to roll into the Lotus Strike, we can look for it. This is one where if I had that monk Way of the Monk upgrade, this would be a much easier option. Or if I had dice mods in my hand, I would likely roll one more time. Okay, we got that, and then maybe use a tippet here, and I would go for my alt. Or I would go for Lotus Strike, which builds up all my chi as well. Let's do one more. Let's say this is Turtle Style Monk. You know, we're rolling a lot of 6s right now, but let's really go for that Meditate. There we go. We got Meditate on roll 2, which is going to give us 5 chi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it's going to give us that evasive. So now we're going to be able to mitigate some of the damage when they swing into us. And then if we want to do something else or it's undefendable, etc., and maybe it's a really big undefendable or whatever, we could even potentially use our evasive there to get around it. And that is how you're going to play the monk. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't be afraid to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions or want to see other heroes, please comment. I always read them. I always try to get back to you guys. So appreciate it and have a good one.